right? How to do that. And it's really easy in Fabric. So to make it easy to work with and see all the steps that I'm applying, I'll bring in the diagram view. So this allows me to see what steps are applied in a visual manner. So let's say that we want to choose, and when I click plus, I'll see all the transformations that I can apply. And it's all with the clicks, so no coding requirements, no coding skills required. And I want to choose the columns. And I can see that a lot of columns have some metadata information. And metadata is not really useful for our report today, so I'm going to remove that from the selection. Let's remove that by clicking metadata, and I'm selecting all the fields and click OK. As soon as I click OK, you can see that the metadata columns are gone. And at the same time, I have all this code written out for me. Now, this code is really, again, prone to any errors, prone to typos, and prone to a lot of errors in general. But I am, without any need to code, can generate all this code, right? So just any business user or any management user with the requirements to understand or to load the data can go through the entire process by clicking. So Fabric is really accommodating in that way. Now, the next step I would like to perform is some more analysis, some more transformations. Well, let's say we want to remove all of these prefixes before the column names, because it may actually make it really hard to understand when your column names are really long and have a lot of prefixes. So if I want to click and transform all those columns, again, it will not take a lot of time, but it will be more effortful, right? I have to put in the effort to find the buttons. If you don't want to even click anything, and if you want to just ask the data what to do, you can use the Copilot built into the entire platform. So Copilot understands the natural language and performs steps based on your requirements. And requirements are simple. In this case, I want to remove the, let's say, mission assignment. So this is the column prefix I want to remove. Mission assignment prefix from all the column names. So it's a natural question and a natural request, and I'll click Post. Behind the scenes, it's using Copilot to perform the task, and it will basically streamline the entire process for me. In the real world, it would take a lot of steps. I would write down this code behind the scenes. It's a Power Query M language. And this is conditional formatting, right? This is conditional code here, and it will take a lot of understanding of the data. And I would have to go through an entire process, through every column, and see which columns to transform, and basically do a data exploration. But now with the Fabric, everything is streamlined and easy to work with. All right, you can see that the prefixes are gone from every column name. Another thing that I would like to do is, let's say, to change the data types for some of the columns. And again, I'm showing you these steps as a demo, as a sample. In the real world, you can do even more powerful stuff, right? It can get even more powerful with more nuanced requirements. Now, I want to change the data types for amount columns to something called currency or money data type, so that my amounts are correctly formatted. So for that, I'm going to ask, for example, here, you can see that it has state cost share amount, and it has to display the values in not numbers, but in the currency data type, right? So to do that, I can basically say, for example, change. For example, let's change the data type to currency. for all the columns, let's say that have the word, in this case, AMT or amount, that have the word, let's say, AMT, or amount in their column names. So you can see the request. And let's post this. Now it's taken some time to perform these actions, and that's because I'm using the demo version of the Copilot and it's still in preview. But if you upgrade that to a higher tier with more compute storage, actions will take a split of a second to complete. Now that I can see the amount with currency data tab. So all the columns that I needed to change were actually changed. Now, what else we can do? We can also do some the same thing for example, for percentage, right? We have some percentage change, percentage share costs for state and federal level. So we can just say, copy this request and change that to percentage. PCT, or let's say percentage word. So change the data type to percentage for all the column names that have the word PCT or percentage in their column names. And you can see the amount of code that's been applied here behind the scenes, right? This is the code that I used to write as a data engineer, and everything is now streamlined. So it becomes really easy for me to develop any project or any solution because I'm extremely boosted with the Copilot. Productivity is really not an issue anymore. Right, so you can see the steps applied in this code here, in the M language code, and we can see that the percentage columns have been changed to percentage. Let me show you. Okay. All right. 1 second. Let me percent PCT. Okay, let me ask it again. All right, let's remove the step. Let's add it with the higher case as well. All right. So meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask while it's loading. All right, you can see the steps applied here, but it's been changed to data type percentage for every column that contains the word percent or PCT. So again, it's all done by Fabric, by Copilot behind the scenes. Okay, the next thing that I would like to do is, let's say we want to change the column names, right? And it's really easy. You just have to double click on the column name and give it the column name that you want. For example, I would like to change the column names and make them more understandable for the end user for a clean report. So I'm going to change the first column name for mission assignment identifier, second one for amendment number. All right, let's go on with the next one, state or tribe. Next one for disaster number. That needs to change because all these column names are concatenated and it's really hard to understand the actual column name. So I'm going to split them with the new names. All right, let's do this for the rest of them real quick. Meanwhile, you can ask any questions. The team behind the scenes will be assisting you with any request. All right. Let me transform this one as well. Statement of work. Let's assign some acronym to that. SOW. Next one is disaster description. All right, we have to split that as well. Date requested. Date obligated. And I think I'm almost done at this point. Share cost, share percent. Federal cost, share percent. Okay. Share cost, share amount. State cost, share amount. Federal cost, share amount, the next one. Rate, requested amount. And the next one is obligation amount. And lastly, let's see what it is. Project completion date. Great. And you can see that all these steps were written behind the scenes, right? I clicked my way through this entire process and the column names were transformed. And this is the code that was required to run this entire project. So even the management or business people with basic business requirements or less specialized developers with normal business requirements and understanding can perform their transformations using Fabric. Now, I guess our data is ready. The only thing that's left to do is to load it into our destination. So I'm going to add my destination. And the destination is a lake house. Click next. And we'll be loading into the lake house that we created before. So I'm going to open the FEMA demo and a demo lake house. And let's give it a table name. For that, I'm going to use, let's say, mission assignment demo. And click next. Meanwhile, guys, let me mention one of the updates that was done to the Fabric recently. Okay, I'll mention that later. I think it's ready. Let's save the settings and publish this. So you can see that my data flow here is refreshing. And regarding that update, I want to mention something called mirroring in Fabric. So right now you saw that we performed something called an ETL in the data lifecycle. And that's called extract, transform, and load data. But now you don't have to load the data anymore. With the new features coming in the near future called mirroring, the ETL process is basically annihilated. You don't have to have an ETL process. You can get the data from the third-party tools, from the third-party sources, from the multi-cloud platforms, or even Azure Cloud Platform using your OneLake. So you will just connect to the table and it will virtually create a replica of that table in your OneLake. And that will be always in sync. So it's a near real-time analytics. So in the near future, we'll see some more updates for the mirroring. And the mirroring is really awesome for giving you the real-time analysis, right? And it basically solves every problem with data analysis and reporting. Okay, let's see if our data flow is refreshed. And you can see that it's being refreshed. Meanwhile, our data is basically in our lakehouse, so we can actually take a look at the data. So if I open my mission assignments demo lakehouse, we can see that I have the